going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Right now you're looking at me driving a T32 Heavy Tank in War Thunder, which is one of the new tanks on the US Army that has not yet been released for public driving. As you know, I'm a closed beta tester, so I got to drive this tank early on, and man, this is an amazing tank. Just a few specifications about the T32 Heavy Tank is it's got a 90mm cannon that penetrates up to 200mm of enemy armor from 50 meters distance, I believe. Its frontal turret armor has got 287mm of reinforced steel, causing it to be extremely difficult for enemies to penetrate. And the rest of the tank is also very well armored, varying anywhere between 70 to 100mm of armor. This tank has got a top speed of 35 km per hour, and it isn't the most maneuverable tank because it weighs, I believe, somewhere around 56 tons, so obviously it's a very heavy tank. But that's not what I'm gonna talk about during this video. I will talk about the tank, but not about its specifications. I'll talk about my personal experiences with this tank. At first I absolutely hated this tank. I couldn't penetrate enemy armor at all because I had no clue how to handle this beauty. But as you're seeing right now, I'm shooting at a Panzer V Ausführung A, and I've got no problems penetrating him at all. Why is that? Well, I'm usually a arcade War Thunder player, so in arcade you can see where to shoot because then the crosshair will be green and you just have to click the left mouse button to fire a shell. In realistic battles it doesn't quite work like that. In realistic battles you actually have to figure out for yourself where to shoot, and I developed quite a useful tactic that really suits this tank. As you saw, I shot down a Panzer V Ausführung A by hitting his ammunition shells. And that is one of the parts of my tactic. First I disable the enemy weapons, so mainly his cannon. Then I'll make sure he can't drive away by killing his driver or shooting down his tracks. And then I'll try to hit his ammunition shells or to hit his engine to set him on fire or to explode him. Now, why is this such an effective tactic for American tanks, especially the higher tier tanks? Well, unfortunately, and I'm saying unfortunately because I do not like the fact that it is this way, but unfortunately the American shells, especially with the T32, so the tank I'm driving right now, they don't turn into fragments as soon as they've penetrated enemy armor, causing their damage to be in a very small area and in a straight line. If you, for example, would take the Russian tanks, as soon as they've penetrated enemy armor, the shells will 9 out of 10 times turn into smaller fragments, damaging all the crew members inside and potentially also other parts of the tank. Now, American shells don't have that. They have extremely high penetrative power on the higher tiers, and they will do damage in one single line. Now, this has got both advantages and disadvantages. One of the advantages I can think of is the fact that it's really easy to hit enemy cannon shells inside of their tank, causing their tank to explode. Like you just saw, I absolutely devastated a Tiger II, in other words a Panzer VI. Generally those are quite tough tanks to kill, but when hitting them at the right spot they are quite easy, and especially with a tank such as the T32 they can be taken out quite effectively. Now obviously it's also got disadvantages. For example, it's really hard to take out multiple enemy crew members at the same time. Mostly the shells won't fragment, causing your damage to be very linear, and because it only goes into a straight line it will only hit one, sometimes two crew members, but usually not all the crew members at the same time. So where you deal relatively little damage to the crew, you deal high damage to the tank itself, and it's just about what tactic you like. In my opinion, it does require a lot more aiming and quite a bit more skill to fire shells that do not fragment, but it's just what your personal preference is. Now this tank is an absolute tank, and I mean it really is an absolute tank in both literally and figuratively way. Because of its amazing armor, enemies will have a very hard time trying to kill you. It will probably never ever happen that they penetrate your frontal turret armor due to that huge chunk of armor that's right there. They are obviously able to hit you from the sides quite easily, as those are usually less armored than the frontal parts of the tank. But still, this tank, man, it's a tough thing for the enemies to fight against. And I'm not entirely sure if I was a little bit over-tiered in the battle I'm in right now, so the battle you're seeing. I don't know the exact battle rating of the Panzer V Ausführung A. I'm pretty sure it's 6.5 or maybe it's 7 too, I don't know. But I absolutely devastated the enemy team here. I ended up killing 3 players and I think 2 AI tanks or 1 AI tank, and I had a great match. Now, I still don't know why I hated this tank at first. I mean, after driving it for a few more hours, I absolutely started to love it. I guess you just have to get into the tank, get to learn to drive it, and as soon as you kind of understand the system, the tank will be a lot better. Now I'm gonna have to round up the video for here, guys. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, subscribing, comment, sharing. But guys, I would really like to thank you for watching, and see you next time.